Coming up, a grand slam in the ninth inning gets the Astros a win. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. Local experts join us, then they recap all of the games for you from across Major League Baseball yesterday. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. The Red Sox used a grand slam to get a win earlier in the week. On Tuesday, though, it was the Astros' Kyle Tucker who hit a grand slam in the ninth inning. Gave the Astros a huge comeback win over the Orioles in the process. Locked On Astros has that story after the win.
Hey, the Rachel Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and the Astros defeat the Yankees. They get a series split in the Bronx, and Jake Myers, have yourself a day. 2 3-run bombs today. He was the Bronx bomber today. 6 RBI, that's a career high, a second 2 home run game. His first came back in Anaheim a couple years ago in 2021 when he first got called up and he started out hot. But today, the bottom of the order, Pena, Myers, and Maldonado all contributed. Of course, the big fella, Yordan Alvarez, poked a home run, just a laser over the right center field wall. And Martin Maldonado, he added a home run of his own. JP France came in and kind of saved the day. Urquidy gave up 5 runs, but JP France came in through 3 1/3 scoreless innings in relief. So they come out, split, headed to Baltimore, take on one of the hottest teams in baseball. Stay tuned in to Locked On Astros. We're your team every day. Go Stros.
The Rays scored 3 runs in the 8th inning and came from behind to best the Cardinals, with St. Louis losing late. Locked On Cardinals goes over how it all came undone.
A wasted effort by Michaelis as the Cardinals fall to the Rays in Tampa. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and Miles Michaelis was locked in on Tuesday night, giving the Cardinals 7 innings of solid pitching, where he allowed just 2 runs on 8 hits, and he punched out 5. But as usual with this team in 2023, when one side of the coin is working well, the other side just comes up empty as the offense manages just 1 measly run off Rays starter Zach Eflin and just 2 runs total in their 4-2 loss. After a leadoff triple in the 8th inning, Andre Palante came on to try and stop the bleeding, but instead allows 4 straight singles, which results in 3 runs scoring. The Cardinals get solo shots from Nolan Arenado, who almost had 3 on the night, and Wilson Contreras, but managed just 5 hits total. They went 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position and struck out 10 times on the night. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
The Giants and Angels continued their West Coast series on Tuesday night. The Locked On hosts with those teams tell you who came out on top after San Francisco took Game 1.
Good pitching, timely hitting, and the Angels break a 7-game losing streak. Hey, everybody, it's Mike Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. Angels get a victory over the San Francisco Giants on Tuesday night, 7-5, and they were led by Lucas Giolito. Giolito pitched really well. He said he made an adjustment before this game, didn't say exactly what it was, but he came into this game really struggling as an Angels pitcher in his last 2 starts. In this game, went 6 innings, struck out 7, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, and looked like the guy that we had hoped for when we traded for him. And then the Angels had some timely hits. They've really struggled with runners in scoring position, but in Tuesday night's game, they moved runners over. They had sacrifice flies. It was a really fun game to watch. And John and I are going to recap that game and talk about Shohei's next start on Locked On Angels. We can't wait for you to join us.
Coming up, the NL wildcard race is as close as it can get. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Dave. We've all been there where you need a little cash before your paycheck comes in. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest, and then you settle up later. So download Dave today at dave.com/MLB. That's dave.com/MLB. You could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com/MLB. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Welcome back. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Jorge Soler hit a go-ahead home run to send the Marlins past the Reds yesterday. Locked On Reds has more on a Cincy team that would be out of the playoffs if the season ended today.
Sometimes David Bell pulls the right strings, and sometimes he doesn't. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and David Bell pulled on the Lucas Sims string 2 nights in a row. Worked on Monday night. Didn't work on Tuesday night. With 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, he calls on Lucas Sims to come in and get 1 out. He did so on Monday. He did not on Tuesday. Jorge Soler uncorking a 2-run home run. He has a homer in each game so far in this Marlins-Reds series. And that was really it. I mean, you had an amazing highlight from Stuart Fairchild on a Little League home run. It was a triple it was scored a triple and an error with a run scored for Fairchild. But just an electric play, really fun to watch. The Reds lineup really didn't do anything past that. It was 2-out RBI from TJ Friedl. Again, he does those lots and lots of times, but they need somebody else to step up, see if they can win the series tomorrow.
Mike Tauchman was the hero for the Cubs, hitting home run to give Chicago the lead in the 8th against the Mets on Tuesday. Locked On Cubs recaps as Chicago turns it into a hot streak.
Just an outstanding 3-2 win for the Cubs on Tuesday night in New York. It started out rough with Pete Alonso hitting yet another home run against the Cubs. I believe it was his 13th in just 25 games. Cubs were down 2-0. Jamison Tyone then settled in. He ended up retiring the last 16 batters he faced. Cubs just scratched and clawed their way back in this one. Solo home run by Cody Bellinger, game-tying double by Yan Gomes, and then an 8th inning solo opposite field game-winning home run from none other than Mike Tauchman. The Cubs continue to stay red hot. It's the same guys, Tauchman, Bellinger, Alzolay, Merriweather, Tyone, that are contributing, and this was just a grinded-out, one-run, great win that good teams, that playoff teams, find a way to get done, and the Cubs got it done.
The Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks as they grow their lead in the AL West, and our Locked On hosts go over the division battle in Arizona.
Well, that game had a little bit of everything. What's up? It's Jeff from Locked On Dodgers. The Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 5-4. Had great starting pitching. Julio went 6 innings, didn't allow any runs, looked great. Had some lousy relief pitching. Alex Vesia gave up 2 runs with the help of Bruce Gratterall. And then Evan Phillips came in for the save. He gave up 2 runs to let the D-backs pull within 1 run. It had the Dodgers throwing out a Diamondbacks runner trying to steal. D-backs were only 1 for 2 on stolen bases tonight. That was crazy. And it had Corbin Carroll, one of the fastest men in baseball, ending the game with a double play that he forgot to run on because he thought it was foul. Just a crazy game, crazy way to end a really good game. Dodgers offense put up 5 runs, hit the ball well, and we're able to hold on for the win. A lot to talk about Julio. The news on JD Martinez is back and a lot of other things. So check out Locked On Dodgers first thing in the morning and every weekday morning.
We got a glimpse of the answer backs, but unfortunately, the D-backs were not able to complete the comeback against the Dodgers and lose game 1 5-4. Miller Thomas of Locked On Diamondbacks here. It was the first time in a while we've seen any life, any fighting spirit from this D-backs team, because the first 7 innings of this ball game, D-backs once again was doing nothing offensively. They were getting shut out. Only 3 opportunities with runners in scoring position, and we're doing nothing with them. But everything flipped in the 8th inning because they were able to get runners on base. Finally, they were converting some of their opportunities, and they went into the 9th inning down 5-2, the bottom of the 9th inning down 5-2, and it felt like they were going to come back because Alec Thomas brought home a run with a triple. Marte brings him home right after that, and then Corbin Carroll, the guy who's going to win NL Rookie of the Year, he has a chance to be a hero, down 1 run, and instead dribbler down the line, wasn't too sure whether it was going to be fair or foul, hesitates, never takes off, and Freddie Freeman doubles him up. D-backs end up losing game 1, and they need every game they can get. A lot of NL West opponents coming up, a lot of opponents that are ahead of them in the NL wildcard race coming up, so the D-backs need every win they could get. Didn't start off this series quite right against the Dodgers, but let's hope game 2 has a better outcome.
Padres and Mariners started a 2-game series on Tuesday with both teams trying to hold on in the wild card race. Locked On Padres has more after Tuesday's matchup with Seattle.
Back at it again with another loss, as usual, unfortunately. What's up, everybody? Javier Reyes here, Locked On Padres podcast. You can see Spider-Man in the background there. He looks sad and depressed, and that's kind of what it's been like watching the team this year. I think that's a real spider there. Oh, interesting. Appropriate. But anyway, Padres lose this one 2-0. AJ Cassavell really summed it up, I think, very well with his tweet saying, they 1 game away from getting back to 500. The vibes were kind of pretty good. The Kempy's on a high, all that stuff. And then you got a Musgrove injury, and and then you lose 3 straight, including tonight. That was supposed to be a bullpen game, and the bullpen did its job with Nick Martinez having a really nice bounce back performance against a really hot team in the Seattle Mariners. Same thing for Ray Kerr, working out of trouble. Only runs that are given up actually, come off of some fielding miscues, and one case being Trent Grisham unable to catch a ball. But offense goes dead quiet. Tatis gets robbed of a home run. This is just what they are, though. And unfortunately, and as Tatis mentioned when he was mic'd up, I think, on Sunday Night Baseball, mentioning, look, they don't pick each other up. When the offense is not doing well, the the pitching will do well. When the pitching is not doing well, the offense, they don't connect. There's no flow, right? They don't pick each other up, and that's what's really unfortunate. And with a team like this, it's just been the story of their season. Can't drive anybody in. And then when they finally do drive some people in, then the bullpen blows, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, this is the big stretch. It's not over yet. Not totally over yet, but we're running out of time, especially with this one more game against the Mariners. And then you got the D-backs, then you got the Orioles, then the D-backs again. This is it. But I just don't see it turning around. But I guess we'll see. And until then, stay faithful.
Coming up, the Guardians beat the Blue Jays in a pitcher's duel. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Bird Dogs. They are the fashionable but comfortable shorts for men. If you go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB and enter promo code LockedOnMLB, you will get a free white tech hat with your next order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise. The Royals hit 3 home runs and beat the Red Sox in Fenway. Our Locked On Red Sox host goes over a rough night for Boston.
Hi, Gabby from Locked On Red Sox here. What an absolutely brutal loss the Red Sox had tonight against the Royals. They fell 9-3. Cutter Crawford did not have it tonight. He just was all over the place, could not really find his command on the mound. Dinelson Lamet made his Red Sox debut in a high leverage situation, which I didn't agree with the Red Sox only down 1 run. So that shouldn't have happened. And the offense just could not get anything going at the plate, especially from Trevor Story, who made his debut, Masataka Yoshida and Rafael Devers. None of them could really get anything going offensively. So it was definitely an irritating loss. Just got to win this series. There's no excuse not to. So just bounce back tomorrow and win the next 2 and claim this series.
The Guardians scored the only run of the game against the Blue Jays in the 2nd inning, despite Toronto's out-hitting Cleveland 9-3. Locked On hosts with both teams go over the final.
After being on the wrong side of history on Monday night in a historic pitching performance, the Guardians actually won an historic pitching performance by a rookie on Tuesday, albeit just 1-0. I'm Justin Latta, Locked On Guardians co-host. Tanner Bybee went 7 innings. That is the first time in franchise history that 2 rookies have gone 7 innings in back-to-back starts and shut out the opposing team. The new guy, Ramon Laureano, with an RBI double early in the game, played some important defense late to keep things close as well, so he endears himself to his teammates quite well, batting 5th in his first game against a left-hander for the Guardians, something they desperately needed all season long. We'll see if Ramon Laureano can keep it up. He certainly deserves more playing time to see if the Guardians can grab lightning in a bottle with him. Meanwhile, the Guardians will send their 3rd consecutive rookie out on Wednesday as Logan Allen against the Blue Jays as they try to win Game 3 of this 4-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. Stick to Locked On Guardians all week. We'll have you covered.
Hello, friends. Craig Ballard, Locked On Blue Jays. Blue Jays lose 1-0 on Tuesday night to the Cleveland Guardians, and let me acknowledge that you can't win them all. Let me acknowledge the Blue Jays were probably due for a stinker, but I still do want to vent about something here. John Schneider. What was that lineup tonight? I mean, a manager's supposed to put their people in the best position to succeed, give them the best chance to succeed. Is that what you did tonight, John Schneider? Yusei Kikuchi, again, really good tonight. 5th start since the All-Star break, and in all 5 of those starts, Yusei Kikuchi has lowered his ERA. Is that good? Wow. Last night, thanks to the Ryu injury, the bullpen was taxed. Well, Yusei, how does he respond and help out? How about 7 stellar innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Great job, Yusei Kikuchi, again. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Blue Jays tomorrow. And for the Locked On Blue Jays podcast, tomorrow's actually a rare day off, so I hope you have an epic Wednesday tomorrow. Now, make sure to tune back in on Throwback Thursday, as this week it's all about Jose Bautista, as Joey Bats is about to be added to the level of excellence this week.
The A's tried to pull off an upset of the division-leading Rangers for the 2nd straight night. Our Locked On hosts tell you how things played out in Game 2 of the series in Oakland.
The Rangers have simply forgotten how to lose since the calendar turned to August. 8 straight wins, including a now series win over the hapless Oakland A's. I'm Bryce Paddock, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. This is a great second start for Max Scherzer in a Rangers uniform. 7 innings of 1-run ball. The only run came off of a solo shot. Just 2 walks, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts for him. In this one, Brock Burke shuts the door with 2 perfect innings on the back end. But the top of the lineup did exactly what it's been doing over the last few weeks. Marcus Semien with a multi-hit game. Corey Seager with 3 hits, including his 19th home run of the season. And Nathaniel Lowe absolutely dominating. This team just cannot be stopped. They cannot be slowed down no matter how many injuries, no matter what comes their way. This team is absolutely dominant and peaking at the exactly right time. They go for a series sweep for 3 straight sweeps in a row after the trade deadline.
That's a wrap for this edition of Locked On Game to Game MLB. We thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Trade deadline's behind us. Now the postseason push begins. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On MLB and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.